Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to this Free for All Friday, Pride of Dakota edition. I'm Kelly Wald from the North Dakota Department of Agriculture, and on the board with us is our wonderful producer, Jim Walsh. How you doing today, Jim?
Not too bad, not too bad. Enjoying this incredible weather.
Isn't it? Oh, gosh, it's just like spring outside.
Yeah.
I will take it any day of the week.
You realize, of course, another shoe will drop, though. We'll get another blast of winter sometime between now and, say, mid-May.
That's what I have been saying since February. I'm like, just wait for it, everybody.
Yeah.
It's coming.
The shoe is dangling.
Yes, it is. Well, if you want to listen to the show online or find replays of the podcast, you can visit the website, which is supertalk1270.com, or find us on Facebook at facebook.com/supertalk1270. Well, today we have with us in the studio Pride of Dakota member Teresa Podol. She and her husband Dan own Prairie Road Organic Seed over by Fullerton, and we will be chatting with her in just a bit. But before we do talk to Teresa, we want to chat a little bit about what's going on with Pride of Dakota and the Ag Department here in the coming weeks. Well, we've been talking about it for months. This is the 31st anniversary of Pride of Dakota. It was started back in 1985 under Commissioner of Agriculture Kent Jones with about 20 companies, and today we are well up over 500 companies, so it has grown exponentially in the last 31 years, and that is all thanks to the members and the retailers and obviously the patrons of North Dakota who support the program and support local businesses. So thank you guys for that. Thank you for 31 wonderful years. And so in March, we celebrate Pride of Dakota Month, and as part of that, we recognize our members who have been with the program for several years. We do vote on a couple of awards. We do like a Retailer of the Year award and a Rookie Go-Getter of the Year award, which are voted on by Pride of Dakota members. And also a lot of our members and retail stores across the state do fund different events or offer specials this month. So check out stores in your area. You can hop on our website or our Facebook page and find out more information on those events too. And also this month we hold our annual Pride of Dakota Day at the Capitol. That is coming up on Wednesday, March 23rd. So you have a chance to stop up at the Capitol. If you can sneak away during your lunch break, that's great too. We are open from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., set up on the first floor, Legislative and Memorial Hall there right outside the governor's office, and then also on the west end of the ground floor. You can come shop from 50 different Pride of Dakota companies that will have all kinds of different things for you to see and taste and smell, all those goodies. And also the Capitol Cafe there in the Capitol building will be featuring lunch specials that highlight North Dakota made items. So lunch will be very, North Dakota homegrown. You can check that out. And then, if you have a little bit of time to kill and you're stopping over at the Capitol, by all means, head over to the Heritage Center. If you haven't been there yet, it's awesome. They have wonderful displays. They have a treehouse area for kids, so there's lots of family fun going on there. A few other things going on at the Capitol, or with the Ag Department, I should say. March 15th, which is next week, is National Ag Day. And as part of that, our Ag in the Classroom program is doing a poster and essay contest with 4th graders and 8th graders across the state of North Dakota. So they had a chance to either draw and color a picture or write an essay that was around the theme Agriculture is for Everyone. And we've been getting lots of submissions in, and so we're super excited about that. We will be having a panel of judges judge those, and then the winners will be recognized on March 18th. So stay tuned for news on that. And also, if you, spring is just around the corner and planting season will be here before we know it. Our pesticide and fertilizer division, they are wrapping up their anhydrous ammonia safety training around the state next week. If you're interested in that, hop on our website, which is nd.gov/NDDA. And then right there on the homepage, kind of over on the left-hand side toward the bottom, there's a calendar of events under the commissioner's picture, and you can see where they will be. I know one is over in Carrington, and then I think one is in Wyndmere, and they got a couple others. So if you're looking for information on that, again, check out our website, which is nd.gov/NDDA. Well, we were talking about our National Ag Day, and so Morton County Farm Bureau, actually, in cooperation with Burley County Extension, does an event, too, to celebrate that. They host Ag Day, which is going to be this year on Thursday, March 17th, from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the Joanne Hetzel 4-H Memorial Building, which is the one that's just over off of East Expressway, located kind of by Buckstop Junction. So you can take the family over there. It is fun for all ages and free admission. They have all kinds of things going on. They actually have a petting zoo with live animals there and different agricultural education booths. So you and your kiddos can come out and learn a little bit more about an industry that is so very important to our state and actually so very important to humanity. They will have other live animals and a sheep shearing demonstration. That'd be kind of fun to see. They will also have a farm safety puppet show that goes on about every 30 minutes, and that show is handicap accessible. So if you have any special needs, no worries, you can check that out too. They will also, for fun, have a Name the Calf contest with prizes awarded, so you want to be sure to participate in that. And then for second graders, they will have a coloring contest with prizes awarded. So that is the Morton County Farm Bureau Ag Day that is going on Thursday, March 17th from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the Joanne Hetzel 4-H Memorial Building, which is just off of East Expressway. If you are looking for more information on that, you can contact Nathan Boehm at mcfbagday@gmail.com. So that's MCF as in Morton County Farm Bureau, B, Ag Day at gmail.com. Well, so some people listening may, have heard of Pride of Dakota. You see the logo and you think, oh, I know that's made in North Dakota, right? That's something I can get behind. I want to support other companies that are here and, people that are friends and neighbors in the same community that I live in. But I don't know that all of you maybe know just exactly what Pride of Dakota does for the members who are part of it. So I just kind of want to give you a little bit of information on what Pride of Dakota can do for you if you are a business owner, or if you are even, if you have a hobby that you're interested in turning into a business. We do offer all kinds of different great benefits as a member. Obviously, the biggest one that, you would immediately recognize is the usage of the Pride of Dakota logo. That has become a really well-known, trustworthy brand, and so when you sign up, you have access to use that logo. And then we also do provide all kinds of different training and educational seminars and workshops. We offer different networking opportunities with other business owners and people who can really be resources as far as, the development of any part of your business, and then different network opportunities. And we do send out periodic newsletters and emails. We get a lot of requests actually from individuals who are hosting events saying, I really want to have Pride of Dakota companies there. So we get those requests in and then we pass those along. And otherwise you may not hear about those events as a vendor. And then, of course, we do promote you heavily through our social media channels, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, all those kinds of fun things. And you have your very own profile page on our website, which is prideofdakota.com. A couple other things, we do have some grants available. I was talking earlier about retail stores that do fun things with Pride of Dakota during the month of March. We do have a retail store promotion program where we can offer some grant dollars to retail stores who are looking to promote Pride of Dakota. So stay tuned right there, folks, and we'll be back right after the break.
Currently, it's 54.
On Twitter, Facebook, online, and YouTube. SuperTalk1270.com.
Well, welcome back to this Free For All Friday Pride of Dakota edition. I am Kelly Weld from the North Dakota Department of Agriculture, and with me on the phone today we have Teresa Podal. She and her husband Dan are co-owners of Prairie Road Organic Seed, located over by Fullerton. How are you doing today, Teresa?
Great, beautiful sunny day.
It is. It's perfect. Feels like spring, doesn't it?
It sure does.
Awesome.
Give you the gardening itch.
It does. I bet you guys are probably ready to go, huh?
Yeah. We're still in the process of cleaning up some seed that we didn't quite finish up last fall. So yeah, getting busy.
No rest for the weary, right?
No.
Well, say, Teresa, why don't you tell us, the listeners, a little bit about yourself and kind of how you got started down this venture?
Well, I grew up on a small farm located in the Red River Valley near Park River, North Dakota, and was one of 7 children. I was the middle child, and there was 1 boy and 6 girls in the family. So all of us girls were expected to pitch in on the farm, and so I grew up in agriculture, and I left home with my mother's admonition to never, never, never marry a farmer ringing in my ears. And I went to college at NDSU and, of course, met and married a farmer.
Oh, wonderful.
So that is how I came to be on the farm here in Fullerton, North Dakota. so Dan and I started out when we came back to the farm raising turkeys, and our farm was certified organic in the mid-'70s, so before I came onto the scene, and we were marketing gourmet turkeys to both the east and west coast, and that was before they had a label for what certified organic meat actually entailed, and so we marketed them as fed grains grown without herbicides or pesticides, and that we couldn't say that they were certified organic, but after doing that for about 10 years, we lost our processor. So we had to take inventory of our other skills and what we might be able to do to sustain ourselves on the farm, and that was when we started our seed operation.
Very interesting. So when on the farm that you grew up on, were you guys livestock producers, or did you deal mostly with crops?
Actually, my dad was a seed potato grower. So I grew up understanding the seed industry, a very different aspect of seed than what we're doing now, but certainly understood the need for high-quality seed and everything that went into that. So on the farm, one of the primary focuses of our farm is to feed ourselves first and to feed ourselves well. And if you look at the history of gardening, gardening was not a hobby. It was a necessity. I mean, it was part of the farm that it was often relegated as women's work, but women were the key provider for homegrown vegetables and produce for the kitchen table and for putting that food up. And so, part of the focus of the farm was definitely on feeding themselves. And so the farm that I married into, that was very much the case. The farm I grew up on, it was very much the case. And so, we tend to think of gardening as more of a hobby these days than a necessity. But there's a lot of very serious gardeners out there that want to feed themselves and feed themselves well. And so we were able to take the seed-saving work that had been part of the family garden for generations and actually turn that into a business. So
that is absolutely awesome. So can you kind of tell us a little bit about your operation now and how Prairie Road Organic Seed functions?
Sure. So our focus is on providing seed of well-adapted varieties for northern growing conditions. And we have a shorter season up here and, different pest and disease pressures than they have in other regions of the country. And so our focus is on providing well-adapted seed that helps us deal with those conditions. And part of the way we do that is by growing out our seed every year and doing selection work on it. So whatever pressures are present that year, we're always selecting the best performing plants, the strongest plants, the ones that are the most resilient. And some of the challenging issues that we've had just as of late is the really cold, wet springs that we've had. And so that puts pressure on anybody who's gardening, whether you can get the seed in early enough, whether or not your seed is going to be able to deal with the cold, wet soil conditions, and whether or not they'll be resilient enough to grow vigorously under those types of conditions and get ahead of weeds and pest pressures. So that's the focus, is really doing that selection work to deal with those challenging conditions. And so our seed is well adapted. Most seed that you buy from other seed companies, you have no idea where it was grown, under what conditions it was grown, and whether or not they were doing any selection work for strong, vigorous plants. And so when you purchase our seed, you know not only where it was grown, but also that we're doing that selection work. So,
Wow, that is a very involved process. I get, if you're not familiar with it, you just kind of think, oh, they garden and they harvest the seeds and that's how, you get it to the customers. But it's much more involved than that.
yeah, it is definitely much more involved. One of the things that we do before we harvest any of our seed is to go through the entire patch and flag the individual plants that are the strongest, most vigorous, for instance, or flag the individual fruits like the watermelon or the squash that is, the absolute best of the best. And those are the plants and the fruits that we select as what we call our stock seed. So that's the seed for the seed. That's the seed that we will save and plant back the next year.
Okay.
And so by doing that every year, you are always working to improve the variety, keep it true to type, and make sure that it has all of the traits that you're looking for and that you want your variety to represent. And so that's in addition to, purchasing our seed and supporting us in terms of our business, you're also supporting that type of variety maintenance and improvement work when you purchase our seed.
Sure.
So we have a number of varieties that we actually bred on our farm, and that was the breeding work of most of our varieties was done long before we had any intention of selling seed of it. But David and his brother Dan, my husband, began that work mainly because they weren't happy with the varieties that were available to them. They thought they could combine cross varieties and develop even better varieties than what they had access to. And they were very successful in doing that, and we actually we're getting requests from friends and family members if we would share the seed of our squash and our watermelon. Those were the first two, and then followed by our Dakota Tears onion. And so by that time we were already we had embarked upon growing seed for other garden seed companies. So we were growing for Seeds of Change, Fedco, High Mowing Seeds, Botanical Interests, and so we were bringing in seed that from these other companies that they wanted us to grow, and doing the variety improvement and selection work and variety maintenance work for those seed companies on whatever it is they wanted us to grow under contract. And so we began introducing those companies to some of our varieties that we had been working on, and they trialed them and decided to begin carrying them. So then we were able to introduce our varieties through these other seed companies that we were contract growers for. And we were doing that quite happily for almost 10 years, and then we had an experience where we contracted with a seed company, and we didn't get the signed contract. We had negotiated the contract, but we didn't get the signed contract, and we didn't get the stock seed for the varieties they wanted us to grow. And by the time we figured out that we would not be producing for that contract, it was too late to reallocate that production space and in our system to another seed company. And that was when we figured out that having a small number of large customers was really not very good risk management. And
Sure.
so we decided that we needed to develop a larger customer base, of a large number of small customers to reduce our risk in that respect.
Wow, that's a really great small business lesson, right, for anybody listening out there who might, be kind of interested in starting up their own thing and seeing how they can get their stuff out to market. But, well, if you guys want to hold tight, we will be back in just a few minutes with Teresa Podol, owner of Prairie Road Organic Seed.
Currently, it's 54.
The Red River Farm Network. Ag News is here on Super Talk 1270.
Welcome back to this Free For All Friday Pride of Dakota edition. I am Kelly Wald with the North Dakota Department of Agriculture. And on the phone with us, we have Pride of Dakota member Teresa Podol, who is the owner of Prairie Road Organic Seed over by Fullerton. So before the break, we were talking a little bit about Dan and Teresa's operation and kind of how the whole growing stock seed works. And I know you had mentioned, Teresa, that you guys have been certified organic since the 70s. Can you kind of explain what exactly that means to a consumer?
Sure. Well, a lot of people think about organic, what we don't use, and think about it in those terms, and that we do not use any commercial fertilizers or purchase pesticides, herbicides, insecticides, fungicides, any of those. And while that's very true, on the management side of what it means to be certified organic, that means that you have to be very proactive about making sure that you have a healthy growing environment, and of course that starts with the soil. So there's a strong focus on soil health and on soil organic matter, the health of the microbial community in the soil. And one of the ways that you can really augment that is to pay attention to the diversity of crops that you grow. So diversifying your farming system and developing a rotation that really focuses on that soil health and that positive microbial community. And they're finding out some really interesting things about the relationship between plants and the plant roots and the plant root exudates. That means the chemical properties that are exuding from the roots of the plants and feeding the soil microorganisms, and then the soil microorganisms in turn help make the nutrients in the soil available to the plants. And so there's this very dynamic interaction going on beneath the ground that we're learning more and more about as we've embarked on these organic farming systems and creating these diverse rotations. And the cutting edge of that at this point is cover crops and the diversity that we can introduce into our farming systems by creating mixes of cover crops and what the effect of that is on the microbial health in the soil. So it's really an exciting cutting edge area of agriculture. You can and actually the input sector is also looking at providing inputs that you can purchase that help boost your soil microbes, and looking at those beneficial microbes, and you could purchase them as an input. But in organic farming systems, the focus is on providing that within the system. So you're not having to go out and purchase inputs, but that the system itself becomes self-supporting. And of course, a lot of that is proactive management. And so it's really not about what you're not doing, it's more about what you are doing to support the farming system.
Okay. And I just wanted to give you guys a quick shout out too. I know you guys were named the 2014 Organic Farmers of the Year by the Midwest Organic and Sustainable Education Service. So congratulations for that. And
oh, thank you. Yeah, that was quite an honor. And that really goes back to a recognition of just how important seed is in all of our farming systems. And so, we attribute much of that honor should go to the seed itself. So,
well, either way, congrats.
Thank you.
So I know, just looking on your website a little bit, it says that the seeds that you produce are all open source seed. Can you kind of explain what that means?
Yeah, sure. So I mentioned earlier that a number of the varieties that we produce on our farm were actually bred on our farm. So we have Dakota Sisters muskmelon, Sweet Dakota Rose watermelon, Dakota Tears onion, Uncle David's Dakota dessert squash, and so those varieties are ones that we developed and released into the seed trade, and we've released them as open source seed. And the Open Source Seed Initiative actually promotes sharing rather than restricting access to plant germplasm. So you hear a lot about patenting plant varieties and about utility patents on seed, and that's really been the direction that the biotech industry has taken with seed. And we used to have a very open system of seed within agriculture, where we had public plant breeders at our land-grant universities who were developing varieties, and as agriculture has evolved, it's become increasingly restrictive, that your access to the germplasm and elite germplasm in particular has been restricted by plant variety protection, and then that evolved into these utility patents. And so what the Open Source Seed Initiative is recognizing that we need a diversified and decentralized seed system, and that we need to support the work of plant breeders of all kinds, and that we actually do need publicly available seed where the rights of farmers, gardeners, and breeders to freely use, save, and replant that seed and to improve seed, that's fundamental to food security, that you have to have seed security in order to have food security. So the Open Source Seed Initiative is really seeking to preserve that right, the basic right of farmers and gardeners to work with the varieties that they grow and to save and improve seed.
Gosh, that's so interesting. All of these things that you guys have going on. I mean, you're obviously really dedicated to, maintaining a healthy environment for the crops that you're growing and giving back to the environment, not just taking from it.
Right, and our focus is on helping others to feed themselves and feed themselves well.
Yeah.
We really appreciate being able to grow our varieties and save seed of that and improve it every year, and just enjoy Sweet Dakota Bliss beets, for instance. We released that 2 years ago, and it was bred to have a really, really good tasting table beet. So many kids think that they don't like beets because they say it tastes like dirt, and a lot of that is the interaction of the plant variety with the soil and of course the soil microbial community and so forth. But our focus was on breeding a beet that did not taste like dirt, that kids would actually think it tasted like candy and want to eat it. And we've had kids sit at our table and tell us, well, I don't like beets. And we say, well, the rule at our house is you have to at least taste it. And we've had kids ask for seconds, and it's just so gratifying. That's really what our focus is providing really good tasting food that people actually do want to eat their veggies.
That's a really good goal to have. So what are some of the types of different seeds that you guys sell?
So I mentioned of five of the varieties that we actually developed. We also have a Dakota Black popcorn, because we like to eat healthy snack foods. One of my favorites is tomatoes. I love tomatoes. So we have 10 different varieties of tomatoes. Most of them are heirlooms, except for Dakota Sport tomato. That was one that was actually bred on our farm. And That one was came out of Crimson Sprinter, which is an heirloom variety that we had gotten from an elderly woman who was saving them through Seed Savers, and she was looking for somebody to adopt it. It was no longer commercially available. Nobody was carrying it. There were no seed companies that had it, and she wanted somebody to take it in hand and continue making improvements on the variety. So David got the seed from her, and we did selection work on Crimson Sprinter for almost 10 years, selecting against blossom end rot and for septoria disease resistance. And lo and behold, one year there was one branch on a single plant that was completely different. And tomatoes are extremely genetically plastic. I mean, they're very diverse, and they will move. If you're not doing selection work on it, they'll deteriorate and become something that they weren't before, become more disease or more diseased, and you'll have more issues with disease and off types and that type of thing. So you have to do the maintenance work. And we noticed Dakota Sport, this one branch on this tomato, because it is super shiny, very glossy looking, looks like it's been waxed, and it's candy apple red. So it was much brighter red than the rest of the plant, Crimson Sprinter, that it came from. And so we saved seed from that. And the really interesting thing about when tomatoes throw out a branch like that, it's actually called a sport. They throw out a branch that's completely different, and you can save seed of that, and it will actually come back true to type.
Okay.
And so we were able to just save the seed and plant it back the next year, and every year it came back this beautiful, glossy, doesn't even look like its parent, beautiful, glossy, bright red tomato. So that's the story of Dakota Sport.
Awesome.
And
say, Teresa, we are going to step out for just a quick break. Hang tight,
Sure.
and we'll be back in just a couple minutes.
Currently, it's 61.
Super Talk 1270, home of the Bismarck Bobcats and high school sports. Listen online or anywhere on the Radio Pup app. Super Talk 1270.
Thanks, everyone, for spending this Friday morning with us, and welcome back. We are in the home stretch of our Free For All Friday Pride of Dakota edition, chatting with Teresa Podol, owner of Prairie Road, goodness sakes, Prairie Road Organic Seed over by Fullerton. Earlier in the show, we were talking a little bit about their operation and how they came to be certified organic and kind of what their whole program is like, how the whole process for growing stock seed works. And we're chatting just a little bit about the different varieties you guys have on hand. What I guess I'm going to ask you this question too, Teresa. Do you guys sell produce along, like at farmers markets and things, or do you strictly stick to the seed side of things?
We used to sell some produce at the farmers market here in Lemoore, and still on the board of the Lemoore Farmers Market Association, but we do not take part as a vendor at this point. We're so busy with our seed work that we just have to stay focused. So
Sure.
So no, at this point we don't. We do tend to give away quite a bit of our produce, like when we're harvesting melons, for instance, our Dakota Sisters melons. We remove the seed from it, but then you have all of this wonderful fruit that is just so delicious. And so we let people know when we're harvesting our seed and come get some melons. And so we have people driving in the yard coming to get melons from us. So, we give away a lot of the produce in the hopes that we don't end up, can help feed people. And the rest of it, we often get the question, well, what do you do with all of the squash, for instance, that you're harvesting seed out of? And we have a friend of ours who talks about composting all of that and using that to feed your livestock on your farm. And we don't have much for livestock other than a few chickens and turkeys and a few beef animals that we raise for our own use, but the real livestock on our farm is those soil microbes that we talked about earlier. So all of the vegetables that we harvest the seed from, all of that material gets composted and put back out on the land. So
Okay, so it's a very self-sustaining operation.
yes.
Absolutely. And I know, your website had some pictures of different field days you guys had done. Is that something that you do annually, or was that kind of like a one-time deal?
No, we've done it semi-annually. So we usually have a tour open to the public every other year, and so this is actually our year on. So we'll be holding a farm tour this summer, and we also in our off years like to open up the farm for field trips with kids. So
Awesome.
last year we did 3 field trips with kids, one with a 4-H club and then 2 with the school here in Lemoore. So yeah, we really enjoy having the kids come through and leave with their pockets filled with popcorn, cobs, and we had kids leaving last year with beets in their hands because they'd never eaten a beet before.
Yeah. That's going to be a very
So-
rewarding experience.
It is, yeah. Kids are great. It's so much fun to have them, leave and tell you this was the best field trip ever.
Oh, yeah, and be a part of that, like really understanding where their food comes and that, somebody out there is growing it, not just, you drive to the grocery store and you pick it up off the shelf.
Right, and expanding their experience with gardens to include seed. It's just so much fun.
Yeah. So
Very rewarding.
where can people get your seed? Where can they purchase it?
So we do have a website, and it will direct you to either Etsy or Local Harvest, where you can order online. We also work with various retail partners. So we have seed racks at various outlets throughout the state of North Dakota, and we started in North Dakota, expanded to Minnesota. And last year also had seed racks in Wisconsin. Now this year we will have seed racks in Michigan and Montana as well. So, and we also have seed in South Dakota. So, if one of the main retail partners that we've worked with is natural grocery outlets, so a lot of food co-ops, Amazing Grains and Toshi Products, and Sydney's over in Moorhead. Sydney's in Moorhead, Toshi's in Fargo, Amazing Grains up in Grand Forks. And then we've also worked with greenhouses, and we Plant Perfect over in Bismarck carries our seed rack, as does Terry's Naturally. And then in Jamestown we have Health to Go and H2O. So, you can go to our Facebook page. We're just starting to post pictures of where you can find our seed rack across the state of North Dakota and across the region. So, and we will put a list up on our website as well where you can find our seed racks.
Can you tell listeners, Teresa, what your website is?
Yes, it's www.prairieroadorganic, all one word, .co.
Awesome. And are there any other ways people can get a hold of you if they're looking to learn a little bit more about your products?
Sure, they can call us. Our phone number is 701-883-4416. And if you go to our website, you can also find our email address and email us, and we try to respond quickly. So
awesome. Well, we have just a couple minutes left here, and I would like to get your input. What would you say has been one of the most either challenging or rewarding experiences of this whole process in being a small business owner here in North Dakota?
Yeah, I think the biggest surprise for me was how much busier I would be in terms of bookkeeping and record keeping. Mm-hmm. and that's been one major challenge. But I think the business planning aspect of being a small business owner is one of the most important things to really pay attention to, and figuring out what is it that's your niche, that's unique about your product, that is the reason why people will care to seek you out and find you. And so I think those are I think focusing on that business planning and recognizing that you don't actually have to do this by yourself. The Pride of Dakota program is one example of the ways that you can find support organizations out there, the Small Business Development Program. So find those existing resources that can really help you succeed as a small business, and find them early and use them often.
Awesome. I love that you said you don't have to do it alone. That's kind of a thing, we always talk about Pride of Dakota really being a family of people, and it's so great to see when members get together, they're always bouncing ideas off of each other or looking for advice, or we have lots of companies that start up, they might start up a project together or add a new product to their product line. That's a cooperative effort between the two of them. So that's really always neat to see. And yes, certainly, I know you had mentioned the Small Business Development Center. There's also the Center for Technology and Business, all of those places.
Yes.
Idea Center. Yes, call around, ask for help. There are lots of people with expert, advice out there who are willing to help and want to help. So yes, if you have an idea, call in, talk to somebody, and they would, certainly get you pointed in the right direction.
Absolutely. Yep, it's been one of the most rewarding parts of being a small business owner, is that networking with other small business owners and just widening your circle and learning from each other. It's just a lot of fun.
Wonderful. Well, Teresa, why don't you give the listeners your website, phone, and email address one more time in case they are interested and excited to get things started. They've got the spring fever going on.
Yeah. It's so our website is www.prairie, RIE, roadorganic.co. So not .com, but .co. So make sure you spell prairie correctly. The phone number is 701-883-4416, and our email address is DT for Dan Teresa Podol, PODOLL, at drtel.net. Stands for Dickey Rural Telephone.
Awesome. Well, folks, if you are out shopping and, getting your garden things ready, be sure that you're looking for seeds offered by Prairie Road Organic Seed. They're kind of, they have a green outline on them and they're white on the front. And also just remember, this is Pride of Dakota month. Stop by the Capitol on March 23rd for Pride of Dakota Day at the Capitol from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. If you're looking for more information on the Pride of Dakota program, you can visit our website, which is prideofdakota.com. This has been our Free for All Friday Pride of Dakota edition. I am Kelly Wald, wishing you a very happy weekend.